I just wanted to talk about this one tip on Adobe Premiere Pro. It's a way that I've been working on Premiere since I've started, and I think it's the best way to easily view all your clips and edit through them. I'm not sure how many editors do this, but so sorry if it's actually an obvious thing and everyone does it, but from a lot of the tutorials I've seen online, people are editing a different way. So I just want to show you guys how I do it, and maybe that might be useful for some of you. Getting better at this talking to camera thing, man. So first of all, I really need to be sat in front of the computer. So I'm just going to open up a project here. I'm also going to use this really cool bike thing we shot a few months ago. It wasn't booting up from the NAS drives. So I'm just using this wedding Dave shot last Saturday. So once you've imported all of your footage into the project bin, we can see it all here. We typically... Okay, I messed up badly last night. For some reason, I didn't look down at the sound recorder for about 15 minutes and it just completely turned off. The battery's dead on the audio. I got so frustrated, it was about 11 o'clock last night, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna redo this tomorrow. Which is why we've changed setting into the meeting room. So once you've imported all your footage into the project bin, it'll look something like this. We tend to just organize it into days and cards and stuff. Not worrying too much about organizing your files in the project bin. I'll then highlight all the footage. For this sake, I'll just do day one of the footage, that's fine. Just like that. I'll right click and I'll go down to new sequence from clip. So this will basically build a sequence based on the first clip that you've selected in that project bin, which in this case is 1080p, 50 frames a second. Test. Dave's just doing a little microphone test, that's fine, we don't need that. So then we'll end up with a timeline a bit like this. Basically just a load of clips. What I'll do then is I'll scrub through and I'll try and segment it in some way. So I'm not gonna do that exactly now, but it might be that we've got a chunk there which is mingling or pre-wedding or something. And then we've got maybe photos here. So we'll select all these and we'll just put a big gap there. So we end up with these sort of chunks from the first day. And then what I'll do is I'll hit M and our little marker appears up here. And I'll double click on that and this box will pop up and I'll write in the title of what I want to call this section. So let's just say arriving. This building's really freaky. I'll write in arriving up there. This is important now, I'll add a duration onto this bit. Just anything, just whack that up to something. I'll add a marker color, any color will do, whatever you want to choose. And then I'll hit OK. And this will create this selection box. So you just want to drag that second one right out. And so we can kind of quite easily see and we'll quite easily see, and then we can sort of quite easily see that this section is, and then we can sort of quite easily see that what this section is, and then we want to do the same with all the other sections. And we'll end up with something a bit like this, so we can clearly see sort of the day broken up into these sections. And then what I'll do is I'll play the footage on the timeline, and I'll watch everything. That's something that I think is really important. I watch everything. Even if it's hours, I think there's about 384 hours of footage here. You just play it through. Try and find a nice moment. Oh, they look so happy. It's fine. Okay, waiting for a nice moment. Okay, let's say they're all hugging there. I might want to highlight that section. So all I do is I hit C on my keypad, which brings up the cutter tool. I cut there, spacebar, play, and then I'm going to want to finish around there. So, and I just click again on the timeline, on the, whatever this thing's called, cursor thing. And then I'll hit V, I'll click on this clip and I'll just drag it up and I'll hit play again. And I'll go through everything, just watching, waiting for moments, anything that I think, oh, that might work. You know, even if you're not sure, just select it. And then what you end up with is a bunch of selected clips. I actually did this earlier on for real. So I'm just gonna move over to that sequence, but it's the same sort of thing. And what you end up with is a bunch of clips like this. You can see have all been highlighted. And then I'll select all of those just by dragging along, just by clicking over here, and just dragging across like that with my cursor. And then once they're all selected, I'll hit Command C, and then I'll bring my cursor over here and hit Command V, and that'll copy them all across like this. And then I'll just drag those onto a lower layer. And now what I used to do, I used to click in between each clip and then just literally delete them like that. But if you have, like I do here, sort of maybe 50, 60 clips, that can take ages. So what you can do instead is you can get an adjustment layer, drag it over, put it on top of the clips, select all the clips again, drag it up and then down again. You'll end up with all these gaps in the middle of the adjustment layer. Select the adjustment layer, right click on the adjustment layer and ripple delete. And that will bring all the clips together like this. Then here what you'll end up with is all your best bits from what you've just looked at, which should be pretty much everything you're going to use in the edit. So then what I'll do is I'll copy that and I'll take that over to another sequence, which will be the actual edit. And I'll put that there. And then these are the clips that you build the edit from. You might want to segment this a little bit as well. But the main thing is you've gone from having sort of hour or two of footage down to 8 minutes you're going to be using to edit with, and they're all the best bits. The beauty of this setup is that at any time you can just go back to your other sequence and see it all. Maybe they go, oh, did you get a shot of James doing that funny face, and they might go, oh, did you get a shot of that person talking to that person? And be like, oh yeah, sure, it's in the mingling bit. And you go straight to that. You can see what you've already selected and you can just scrub straight through it, which I think is so much easier than going through the source files and selecting in and out points and dragging it down to the timeline. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. Why would you want to do that? So typically in Premiere, what I believe they want you to do is to double click on a clip and watch it through, select your in point, select your out point, and then import that clip into your edit, like that. And then eventually, yeah, you will end up with a bunch of clips that you can build your edit from, but you don't know where they've come from and you don't know what else is there. So instead of doing it that way, I would recommend putting all your clips into one sequence right at the start, so that at any time you can come back and see it all right in front of you. You can also take it a step further, which is what I often do if you're mixing frame rates. I would often select, so here I've done it in this sequence, I would group the clips a little bit depending on their frame rates. So here we've got a load of 100 frames per second stuff, and I've just put those clips in a blue, and I always know that means they're 100 frames a second. If the rest of the footage is a mix between 50 frames and 25 frames, I would put all the 50 frames stuff in red, but make sure that's playing back at 25 frames on the sequence, because more often than not, I would rather the choice to slow it down than the choice to speed it up. But that's kind of a personal preference thing. I would also use orange as to know if a clip is in 4K. Actually, it's mango. It's not orange. It's mango. So yeah, I would use mango to know that a clip is in 4K rather than just keeping it as the blue. Just so you can easily see, boom, that's in 4K. I know what the capability of that clip is. I find that really useful. And another quick tip, you can also use adjustment layers instead of markers to name things. So here with this box here, I've got the speeches. So I've got that sort of as the chapter marker for speeches, and then I've used adjustment layers and rename them for each person's speech, which is quite neat. So Holly's, the two girls, Ross and Best Men. And then you can see the clips I've selected here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to talk about that way of editing a little bit. I don't know if it's a common thing. I don't know if maybe I'll put this up and everyone will be like, oh, that's so obvious, everyone does that. But I don't know, I haven't seen it being used done a lot. So but yeah, let me know some of your techniques too. I'm always looking for ways to speed up the editing process and make it more efficient. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one if I'm doing this again. I don't know if I'm doing this again. But yeah. I'm not that good at tutorials. I mumble a lot.